Hi guys, I'm back with Carol. So we're going to be doing the Mother of the Bride inspired look. The skin is all prepped and looking nice and dewy and radiant, so I can't wait to show you what we're going to create. First things first, foundation. I'm using today the Dior Face and Body. So this is a new product of mine. I absolutely love it. It's nice and lightweight. It gives the skin a really beautiful finish. I'm using a Pout Cosmetics foundation brush, and I'm just going to work over Carol's skin. And this does have, it's a semi-matte, semi-sheer finish. So it's perfect to use over a really hydrated skin. That's why I use the Weleda moisturizer, just to give the skin lots of hydration. But a lot of mothers of the bride, they don't want to have a heavy foundation. So I find that this product is perfect. It works on all skin types, but it's just beautiful on more mature skins. And the product is buildable, so you can build it up in layers. I'm also going to work a little bit down the neck. We often find that the neck is slightly lighter than the rest of the body, but you want to make sure that your neck and your chest, any area that is going to be exposed, is all matching. I'm just going to really lightly just go over the eye very slightly. I will be going over with an eye primer, but it's just to knock out any redness and to tie everything in. And you'll see me do a few different brush strokes. I like to pat the product in as well as kind of getting in there with circles, and it's just a case of buffing in the product. And you can use the patting technique on areas that you need a little bit of extra coverage. I'm switching brushes. I'm just going to use my Real Techniques brush, which you've seen me use loads in this course, and that's just to create a little bit of extra coverage around the nose. Okay, so the skin's looking beautiful. Carol doesn't have any blemishes to cover up the tiny little one spot of pigmentation, which is a real credit to you, Carol. You're obviously looking after your skin. It's just incredible. So we'll cover that just very lightly at the end. I'm just going to take a step back and check. Oh, beautiful. For the eyes, I've chosen to use the MAC paint pot. This is in the color Groundwork. Just close for me. So this is a taupey color. It's beautiful on most skin tones. It's great if you have olivey skin tones to work on. And I just find if you just do a really light dusting of this all over the lid, even that sometimes for a mother of the bride that just wants a really, really natural look, I just use this on its own, a little bit of liner and mascara, and you're good to go. We are going to blend over today with a little bit of extra eyeshadow, but just showing you that you can just wear this alone. You just open your eye. You can see how it just creates a really beautiful sheen on the lid and close. These are super long wearing, so they don't crease, they don't smudge, they don't transfer, which is perfect for bridal makeup or any makeup that needs to last all day. Just using a small flat top brush, just look up for me, Carol. I'm just going to go underneath the eyes ever so slightly. Again, we're creating quite a soft look, so we don't want it to be too heavy. And just blink as you need to. I always say to my clients, just blink as you need to. And then just be wary, just keep an eye on how their eyes are reacting. Some people can have quite watery eyes, so you just need to take a moment in between layers. And we just want to concentrate a little bit more on the outer corner of the eye, just on the bottom layer. When we have slightly hooded eyes, you do need to just balance out the eye shape by just popping a little bit of extra product in the outer corner of the eye on the bottom lash line. So just being really, really gentle when you're working around the eyes, making sure that your brushes are soft. I'm using minimal pressure, just so you don't drag the skin. And then just turn your head to me slightly. And then just doing that little bit of extra in the corner of the eye. We'll reinforce this with some shadow. But even that, if you were just to do some lashes and some mascara, it would be a great look for someone that wanted a really natural look. I'm using some eyeliner now. So this is the Mecca Max eyeliner in chocolate. And I'm just using my Beauty So Clean, making sure that everything is sterilized before you use it directly onto the skin. And just give the product a little wipe. These have become so handy in my kit. And then just dry the product. So this is a really warm chocolatey color. So if you just close for me, Carol, I'm gonna work along the top lash line first. I'll just bring your head around like that. And again, just being really gentle, supporting the skin, lift up the brow slightly, and then we're just gonna work it in between the lash line. And we want to have a slightly thicker line on the outer corners of the eye, and it just helps create the illusion of a larger eye. And just working really lightly in between the lashes. Okay, so this is a Morphe 508 brush, so it's a flat top, small synthetic fiber brush, and this is perfect to use with eyeliners. These liners are great to use because you do have a little bit of time to work with them. They don't dry automatically. And then just open for me and just making sure that you're checking as you go the shape of the eye. I'm gonna go underneath as well, so just look up for me. In between the lashes. And I'm doing that little extra triangle almost in the corner of the eye, and that just helps really open up the eye. I'll just give you a second. So I'm just taking the liner just to where the iris starts. We don't want to go all the way into the inside of the eye because that just gives you more of a closed eye. And then just look straight ahead for me. So you also want to make sure that when you're working with slightly hooded eyes that you need to work with the eyes open. So I want to see exactly how the eye is going to look with the eyes open. I'm just winging out just a tiny bit onto where the crease comes in. And softening every stroke. Beautiful. Okay, and then we're going to repeat the same on the other eye, so just turn around and then just close for me. Yay. And again, just working back and forth along the lash line, making sure that there's no skin visible. And it is really important to use really creamy eyeliners. You don't want to drag the skin. And just soften that line as you go. And just taking the wing out just very slightly. And then just open for me and look up. And just taking it out, allowing your client to blink. And just stopping at the iris again. So it's basically 1/3 of the way into the eye. Really getting to that corner again. You're almost going straight across the bottom of the lash line to connect to the top. And that little bit of extra product right in the corner of the eye just gives you that elongation. Making sure you're even, and then close for me. Okay, and then just looking back to camera. Beautiful. So that's just really opened up the eye. Just going to make sure we're all balanced. I'm going to go in a little bit of extra shadow. I'm using the Born This Way Natural Nude palette again for you, just to show you how versatile this palette is to have in your kit. This is the color Seashell, which is, again, it's a nice warm taupey color. So this is a matte shade, and we're taking it up quite high. This is a really soft color, so it's not going to be too visible. And just open your eyes for me. And you can also do this with the eye open. We just want to create a little bit of drama just on the lid here. We're concentrating mainly around the lash line, which is perfect for hooded eyes. And close again for me. And then I'm going to repeat the same on the other eye. So all the drama with this look and the definition is on that lash line, which is what you want. You want everything else to be pretty pared back. It's just to give a little bit of color onto the lid and a little bit of dimension. Just open for me. Beautiful. So I'm going back in with my Morphe brush, and I'm using the color Truffle, which is a nice chocolatey color, and all we're going to do is just reinforce that liner. So I'm going to take a tissue and just pop it underneath. I'm going to do the underneath first. If you just look up for me, I just like to tap off the excess on the tissue, and then we're just pressing over the top. And that way you know that that's going to be locked in. You can then pick up your little bit of color and then just close for me again. And just pressing over. Making sure you just blend and soften out that line and just open. Gorgeous. And I'm going to repeat the same with the other eye. So just look up for me first and just tapping off the excess. And then close for me. And again, just softening back over that line. So just take your time with this, making sure that it's all beautifully blended. And then open. And then just using a cotton bud just to soften that little wing just a little bit at the end. And cotton buds are great to use if you want a soften line. They just kind of pick up a little bit of the color. So I'm going to clean up a little bit underneath the eye where we have a little bit of fallout. I'm using a tiny little bit of the eye cream. So I don't want to use eye makeup remover because it's going to remove all that beautiful skin prep that we did. So just by using either a moisturizer or a little bit of the eye cream, you just pick up any fallout that's fallen down, and it still keeps the integrity of the skin underneath the eye. So when we go to do our concealer, it's going to be still nice and hydrated. Beautiful. So for concealer, I'm using the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion Concealer, and this is in the color 3N. And I'm using a fluffy blending brush under the eyes. This is a Morphe 573 brush. And I love to use these fluffy brushes under the eyes. And this concealer, it's a long wear concealer, but it's super hydrating, so it's gonna be perfect for underneath the eyes. We don't wanna have anything too drying under the eyes. And I'm also concentrating the most amount of concealer on the inner part of the eyes. We don't want to have too much build up on the outer corner of the eyes. You'll just find that it will settle in any little fine lines. And working around the nose with the fluffy brush, just to diffuse anything there, and just bring your chin around. And again, I'm just working in really light layers, just tapping it on, again, being really gentle around the eye area, making sure that you're not pressing too hard. And then this is your time just to go in and conceal any extra things that need concealing. I'm going to use a tiny little bit of this just on the one little tiny bit of pigmentation that you've got. So I'm going to give Carol's lashes a curl. So if you just look down, when you're curling lashes, you just need to make sure that you really lift up the brow and you're just being super gentle. So lift the brow up, making sure that you just catch the ends of the lashes. If you need to go in again, you can do. So your client can curl her own lashes, but you have more control with how the lash finishes if you do it yourself. Obviously this mascara needs no introduction to you guys. This is the Kevyn Aucoin Curling Mascara. And I'm using a teeny weeny little mini brush. I'm just gonna take off the excess. And if you just look down for me, I'm just gonna bring your head around. So these mini mascara ones are perfect for anyone that has slightly shorter lashes or slightly finer lashes. And the key with thinning lashes is just to really work at the base of the lash. As we get older, our lashes do tend to become thinner. So it's really great to use a thickening mascara or something that's just going to really plump out those lashes. Just being really careful not to disturb the makeup, and I always just give the client a couple of seconds in between coats. Beautiful, all coming together now. I also like to just take the lid and just very gently pull it towards myself, and that way you can get right the way into the inner corners of the eyes. And again, I'm being super gentle with the eye area and just coming in and out so Carol can blink. And then I flip the wand around to get the outer corners. I also like to go back down the lash as well. Just roll it down. We're going to go in with some falsies as well. And we'll do the bottom lashes last. So I'm using the Model Rock lashes again. These are one of my favorite lashes to use. So these ones are the double style individual knot free. So these are the shortest lashes they do. And I just find that they're just beautiful for mothers of the bride. If we feel like we want to go in with some longer ones, then I'll use some of the medium ones at the end. I'm just dipping it in. So if you just look down for me. So I'm going to start in the middle of the lash. And these ones are not free, so it means that they have a really seamless finish. These are also good to use for people that wear glasses because they don't make the lashes too long. Oh, yes. Okay, and just look down again. So I'm coming, if you bring your chin down, so just coming in right at the base of the lashes. These lashes have to sit right at the base of the lash, not on the skin. And just open. Gorgeous. So you can really see what a difference having a few little lashes make to the eyes. It really just opens up the eyes. So just look down, lift the lid slightly and just nudge them right up to the base. So individuals do take a little bit more time than a strip lash, but I find once you're a little bit more experienced, you can get them on pretty quickly. And then just open, just making sure that you're checking the symmetry as you go. You know, it's tricky to see when I'm applying the lashes, but we're just using the end of the tweezers and your finger just to nudge them together, making sure that they all sit beautifully. And just look up for me and look down. So if you find that one's sitting a little bit wobbly, you can just pinch them into place. You can also use your tweezers to pinch them into place. You just need to be very controlled when you do that. Okay, and then a couple on the inside. So I find it's best not to go all the way right up to the inner corner of the eye. You want the lashes to be really comfortable. So I feel like just stopping one lash short, just look up for me, gorgeous. I think we can get one more in. So I'm just gonna put one more in, and we don't wanna go too close to the inner eye. You don't wanna overpower the eye. Just look straight ahead, gorgeous. And down again. I'm going to use one medium lash. Open. I lied, I'm going to put two in. And look down, that's it. So we're going to put two medium ones in just at the very end. And I always do these last because then you can see if you feel like your client can take that little bit of extra lash. And last one. And then open, perfect. Okay, that's looking stunning. Really excited for this. I'm just going back in with a little bit of extra liner. I often do this right at the end once I've got the lashes on, just to blend everything in. So just close for me. And I'm just pushing that little bit of extra product right at the very base of the lash line. And this just ties the lashes in with the look. And just open, and you can see that just gives you more of a seamless finish. This brush is a MAC 208 brush. It's also a really good brush for brows. And I'm using it just because I want to really press this product in. It's quite a firm brush. And I'm using the brush with the liner as opposed to using the liner, just because it gives you a little bit more control and it's not going to disturb the lashes. And then I'm going to do just the inner corners. So Carol, if you look down to your left, and then I'm just going to lift, that's it, with your eyes open, just lift slightly, and that way you can get right the way into that inner corner. And then do the same with the other side. Just very gently. And then look straight ahead. Amazing. And look down that way again, perfect. So working on the brows now. So this is the Brow Guru by Mecca Max. So these are really great brow pencils to have in your kit. Just brushing up Carol's brows. And I'm using just a little pad just to support the skin. And again, little tiny strokes. This is in the color dark. It is actually more of like a dark browny color, so it's just light, slightly lighter than Carol's natural brows. And what you want to do is just ever so slightly thicken the brow, but you need to be really careful as you go. So I like to thicken the brow on the top, and then the underneath of the brow can look a little bit more natural. And just working through with your spoolie just to disperse the product, filling in any gaps. Working mainly on the top of the brow. That way you just get a little bit more thickness, but you still keep the nice natural fluffy hairs. And I'm just gonna extend just very slightly. And then repeat the same on the other brow. Just bring your face around that way. That's it. So I just follow the direction of the natural hair, just creating that little bit more shape on the top. I feel like eyebrows also tend to get finer as we get older, or if you were in the 90s and plucked them all away, which I did, then just filling in the brow makes such a difference. So just take a step back, make sure that your brows are even. This is the color Convertible by Stila. I'm just gonna scoop a little bit out and pop it on my spatula. This is in the color Peony. It's such a beautiful color for really just adding that warmth to the skin. So with blush, what we want to do with maturer skins, if you just turn your head to the side, we don't want to have too much product going on the apples of the cheeks. We want to kind of keep it quite high. Carol has beautiful cheekbones already, but it just helps to emphasize those cheekbones and just adds a beautiful pop of color. And just working back over the cheekbone, keeping the product quite high. And then bring your head around this way, perfect. This is a MAC 180 brush. I love this for creams. It just gives you a little bit more control. And just working that into the hairline, making sure that you just get that beautiful flush look. You can also put a little bit over the nose as well, just to tie everything in. So working with powder. This is my Shuramera powder. This is in the color medium. And I'm just gonna go in the center of the face. I want the skin still to look nice and dewy. Loose powders are always great because they're not gonna be too heavy. And just working with a small fluffy brush, just placing the powder where you need it. I'm gonna leave the cheeks nice and dewy, but we want the center of the face to be a little bit more matte. Next up is bronzer. So this is the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer. I love this bronzer. Just turn your head that way for me. So we're gonna go just directly underneath the cheekbone. This is a Zoeva angle brush, a Luxe Sheer Cheek brush. And I'm not gonna bring it too far down. We just want it to be in this little hollow part here of the face, just right under the cheekbone, just to create a little bit of dimension. So Carol has beautiful cheekbones, but if you're using bronzer or contouring on someone that was slightly thinner in the face, then you just need to be careful of using too much contour under the cheek because it can actually make them look older. And I just do a little bit around the hairline just to tie everything in. This is such a great bronzer to use. It's nice and matte and you can build it up in layers. Working with the bottom lashes now, I'm going to use the Kevyn Aucoin Curling Mascara again on my little mini brush. And I'll just get Carol to look up and we're just catching those bottom lashes. And again, if the client cries, then this mascara just doesn't smudge. And you can wiggle them in and it just helps to build a little bit of thickness on the lash. I really like to use a little bit of extra mascara on the bottom lashes. I find that it just really helps to define the eyes. So we've made it to the end. We're gonna be doing lips now. I'm using the Urban Decay Manic on Carol. So it's really nice to do a bit of a bright color. I find that as we age, a pop of color on the lips makes such a difference. Even though we've gone a little bit heavier on the eye, Carol has that beautiful warm skin tone, so we can afford to go a little bit brighter. These lip liners by Urban Decay are really affordable and they're long lasting. They're 24-hour, so they're super creamy as well as being long lasting, which is great. And I'm filling in the whole of the lip line. And you can slightly overline the lips a little bit. If you had someone that had slightly thinner lips, you can just kind of nudge over that lip line just a little bit, just to give the illusion of a slightly fuller lip. And when I come to the inner corners, just like to use the pencil at the point. That way you get that really defined lip. I'll just turn you around. And another cheat you can do is just to stop a little bit shorter than the end of the lip. And that way it just gives you an illusion of a slightly fuller lip. And just really lightly just press your lips together. Perfect. I love to use glosses at the moment. I feel like they're just having a bit of a comeback. This one doesn't have any shimmer in it, so it's just gonna give the lips a beautiful finish. This is in the color Flesh Fantasy. This is by Pat McGrath. So I'm using quite a long tipped lip brush. So I love to use these to really get in the corners. And again, just taking a step back, making sure that everything is even. So I'm gonna add some drama to the brows. This is the Gimme Brow by Benefit. And this will just create a little bit of extra dimension in the brow. This is in the color Dark. Using a clean one on the other side, so not to double dip, just turn your head that way. So this just gives dimension back into the brow, makes the brows look a little bit more 3D. And so in doing this, it just gives the illusion of a thicker brow. I'm nearly finished with this look. Carol looks absolutely beautiful. The final thing that I'm gonna do is just pop a little bit of extra color onto the cheeks. Now I've got the lip on, I just wanna brighten the cheeks just a little bit more. This is a product from Benefit. It's called California, and it's a really beautiful peachy color just to give that extra pop onto the cheeks. Okay, so that's just tied everything in together. Carol looks absolutely stunning. I mean, who would not want to look like this for their daughter's wedding day? This is your mother of the bride look.